Holy guacamole, hold me. We're getting in the stocks, we're getting in the economy, we're getting in the looming recession of 2022. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, it's Grant, and today we're going to be talking about one of the biggest subjects out there right now, rising fuel costs. Fuel costs down here being nearly $5 a gallon, and in other places of the country, nearly $8 a gallon. Things are really starting to heat up in the pressure cooker that is the United States. When it also comes down to it, the Dow since October 21 was at 36,300 and some change. And then now we are right above that 30,000 mark, and we flirt with it every single day to go right below. It has been a historic time for low rates, and these days we have plummeted our way, catapulted our way into really high rate territory. Right now, if you are a 730 prime buyer, personal resident of this home, not an investment property, you put 5% down, you're going to be looking at about 5.5% minimum, and those rates go up, go down, but mainly trend up daily. And to top it all off, the entire world is experiencing crazy inflation. And especially here in the US, lumber fluctuates. I'm a developer. Sometimes lumber's in the price range, sometimes it's at the moon. It is absolutely astronomical to see how much things are costing. And then for the everyday average American, they are overpaying for used vehicles. They are overpaying for nearly everything that they use in their everyday lives. And it's just something that is, I guess, a must because of supply and demand. But it just seems that this is a problem that the government should be able to handle. Make some incentives for manufacturing. Make sure that you supply some of our tax money to go open in the chip factory or whatever is holding it up for real. But when I tell you I'm in the car business and it is so hard to get brand new vehicles on the lot, used vehicles have skyrocketed and everybody is overpaying. Let me give you an example of how supply and demand is affecting the car business. Let's talk about a 2500 diesel GMC Denali 2022. There was a zero in there. But that exact vehicle MSRPs for about $78,000 right off the factory. Let's talk about a 2022 and even sometimes 2021 GMC Denali 2500 pre-owned with 50,000 miles on it. That vehicle's NADA book value right now, or Kelley Blue Book, because they check and balance each other. That vehicle's book value is above $85,000. I've seen it as high as $89,000, and this vehicle has 50,000 miles on it, similar model year, and then let's just say apples to apples on options. So when the everyday person is buying a vehicle that is more than a new vehicle with half of the miles of that vehicle's life, I understand it could ride for $300,000, but the value life is always what I talk about. I'm only a caretaker of the items that I hold, and I always want to make sure I buy something with a good value in return. It is absolutely crazy. So whenever the values of the vehicles and the production starts back, what happens to that car buyer? When that vehicle goes back down to being worth 65 grand, I mean, shoot, when it's got 90,000 miles on it, 55 grand, and they paid 85, I don't know if the average American can actually take a $25,000 hit on their vehicle whenever they were upside down in the first place. So when you tack on current negative equity and all these other things that are going to happen, I really think that this recession, unlike the Great Recession of 2008, or this lingering possibility of a recession that's going to happen. 2008 was caused by the banking crisis. This one might be caused by the inflation crisis that has affected every single American here on the planet. So for those of you that are seeing me for the very first time, or the avid watchers of my channel, I very much appreciate you tuning in. I am a 32-year-old real estate investor as well as the director of a large automotive company. Here's the thing. By being in the real estate business, having over 65 rentals that are almost valued at $20 million, and by being the director of 11 car dealerships, I see the everyday average American, I see the wealthy American, and I see the Americans that are living paycheck to paycheck and that are struggling to get by. I watch this economy of ours almost on a molecular level because I get to pull credit, I'm on the front lines, and then I also get housing applications that shows me income as well as car business and all the rest. I'm seeing income statements, I'm seeing credit applications, I'm seeing financials on a daily basis. And I've been doing that for over 15 years. Seeing this gave me a pretty good understanding of how the economy works. Seeing this has given me an understanding of a collection of data that allows me to not necessarily judge someone, but understand their financials, understand what they're going through, how many kids they have, right? I learn about people. And I am extremely concerned, as I said earlier, that this recession, unlike the Great Recession of 2008, where it was the banks that collapsed because they were lending money to people they shouldn't be. They were packaging deals as if they were A paper, but they were C quality. And so by doing this to keep their money going, it really caused a huge collapse. But what's bigger than the banks? Us. The US population is over 350 million people. And what do we all do when we're able? We have a vehicle to drive. By buying these vehicles at expensive prices, by spending more money because of inflation, by buying homes at all-time highs every single day, and now with rising rates at 5.5 for prime, it has never been a scarier time to be an investor. It's never been a scarier time to be a home buyer. It's never been a scarier time to buy a carton of eggs and a gallon of milk. So I do worry that if for some reason rates keep going, inflation keeps going, and everything keeps going, and then maybe unemployment starts going up there, gas prices keep rising, this might be the Great Recession of the people. So truth be told, it is one of the scariest times for what I'm watching, but keep in mind, there's a silver lining here. I don't want anyone to ever lose anything. I don't want anything bad to ever happen. But during a recession, this could be the greatest wealth building tool of your time or the hardest time of your life. Here's why. The two main differences here for you to have the greatest wealth building tool of your time, whether that be turning your net worth of $1,000 into $10,000, by turning your net worth of $1 million into $10 million, which that one there, that'd be nice. But understanding if I could grow like that, I would be an absolute genius. But I can tell you, if we can do it from 1,000 to 10,000 or 1,000 to 2,000, why couldn't we do it for the same concept of that million? The main ingredient to growth here is living below your means. Making sure that when a recession happens and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you start making 30% less, well, that vacant rental property that you have that's been stressing you out, you got to sell it. Ooh, that car that you have, that second car, you got to sell it. And you're not going to be selling these things at top dollar because a lot of other people will be selling their things at one time. It makes really good deals on the market. If you know what you're looking for, you can pick up amazing deals during recessions because people get over leveraged. But by staying under leveraged, by staying within your means or below your means, then when things happen, you can take your money, your little soldiers, and put them to work by buying other people's stuff that they no longer can afford because they were living to the gills in debt, in expenses, in fancier apartments, fancier leased and bought cars. And by being over leveraged, this can absolutely break someone because they thought, hey, I jumped off of an 8-story building. It's been 7 stories yet. Oh, the economy changed, so therefore I have something to blame. No, you should blame yourself. One thing that I've taught on this channel for years, being recession proof. Understand, by being recession proof in your real estate portfolio, right? What that means is I believe the money is made on the purchase. And guess what? If you're going after a house that's 5 days on the market with 4 offers, you are not going to make the money on the purchase. The seller will. But if you find that house that needs a little paint, find that house that the gutter's hanging off, you find that house that the landscaping is just so atrocious and they let the weeds grow, looking like it's vacant and it's abandoned and it's been on the market for 200-300 days. Well, Grant, those don't exist. They do in every single market. And by finding that one that needs a little elbow grease, right? Little work, a little labor and cash infusion. Nothing structural. Don't go wrong here. But that house can make you a ton of money by doing that over time. And here's the main way to be recession proof. Not only buying the house at a fair deal, but putting 20% down. By putting 20% down, you're forcing that property to cash flow. You're also making sure that you have enough equity in the event that something bad happens, right? You're not over leveraged on that property. You may be able to still pull a little loan out. You also might be able to, afford the note by making sure that property is affordable to you in case it's unrented. That is a great way to survive a recession. Another thing with being able to put 20% down, you escape PMI, private mortgage insurance. It's a scam. Completely unnecessary. Just another way for the banks to charge you more money. By putting 20% down, you better your chances so that way in the event we have a terrible recession or even depression, which I've never lived through, someone like me is not going to come buy your stuff because you need me to. And you're selling it to me at $10,000 less than your payoff just to get out of it because you can't afford the monthly note. And the last thing that we'll touch on is the stock market. During 2020 of March, the stock market was at 33,000, 34,000 points and went all the way down and touched 18,000 points. Something we're seeing right now-ish in the stock market is a drop. It's a slow and steady drop that just kind of shows, things aren't going so hot. In crypto right now, we're seeing something just like this. Bitcoin was at 65,000. Now, Bitcoin's at 20,000. By watching how things are starting to get affected in the scares that are going through people, you can also make good deals to the stock market. Mutual funds, sure. Individual stocks, absolutely. As long as you're willing to bet on them that they're going to survive this really crazy time. And we just got out of an even crazier time. That was a 100-year event that no one could have predicted. So right now, the stock market's risky, real estate's risky, everything's risky. But are you willing to risk it to have the greatest financial time of your life? Or are you going to be able to hunker down and survive? I would rather thrive than survive, and also understand if you are 16 years old, 15 years old, 10 years old, if you are old enough to understand what is going on right now, watch, pay attention, learn. If you're of age to invest $100. The experience that you're going to get through investing and paying attention and watching videos through a recession to see how grown folks lose everything or make everything is going to be invaluable to the remainder of your life. 2020, when everything went crazy, was my Super Bowl. I can assure you right now, I will not be investing crazily. I will not be doing anything different than I already do. I might start branching out a little bit more into crypto. I might start branching out into more mutual funds. I might start branching out into more commercial buildings. I don't know. But that's still virtually what I'm doing now. But I promise you, I will be making deals if the recession happens. I will be pushing the envelope of what I'm comfortable with. And this will be my second Super Bowl in my financial life. I leave you with this. Back in 2008, during the Great Recession, the stock market in 2007 was at 14,000. By the time 2008 happened, it was at 12,000. Nothing crazy happened, kind of like what we're watching now. The stock market was at 36,000, right, in October of 21, and then now we're at 30,400. Seems like a pretty reasonable drop, but in 2008, the stock market with the financial crisis of the banks, the crash of 2008, the stock market went from 12,000 to 6, 50%. Now understand, number one rule here, a stock is not a win or a loss until you sell it. However, understand, if you sell it at 50% of your value of your 401k, that is now your net worth of your 401k. If you ride it out, guess what happens over time? Either things are going to get real bad if the stock market goes away, or it'll recover as it has always done. Don't get scared, don't freak out, don't lose your mind, but understand, we're going through a similar trend that happened in 2008, except this time it could be the people's recession because everybody's upside down their vehicles. Everybody's overpaying for even fuel. Everybody's overpaying for everything. It's a scary time. I'm not scaring you. I'm telling you to prepare. You have time. I don't know if it's a couple days or a couple months, but you have time to start hunkering down on your budget, figuring out your expenses, and making sure that you are ready to make this the greatest wealth building tool of your time when everyone else is over-leveraged, overstressed, and having to unload those properties at fantastic deals because the market also is flooded because there's so many people living above their means. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, I 100% believe in you, and yeah, that's it. All right, ready? Stock video.